there's a process to it. So the first thing to understand is that there's a process, and there's no just magic way to take recurring billing from one system and move it to another. And there's a lot of kind of questions that need to be asked before you can really address anybody's individual situation. So is there a more general kind of, because it always comes down to, okay,
this idea of, okay, well, we're going to have to ask people to re-sign up, right? And so
you don't have to do that though. Yeah. I mean, yeah. So let's consider, I think, let's consider a common scenario. Let's say you have a site that's live for however long, and you have, let's say, 100 active customers who have recurring billing. And let's say that you're using both PayPal and maybe some other recurring billing provider like Authorized.net, ARB, Stripe, or something that MemberMouse doesn't even integrate with. So when you want to switch to a new platform, there are two main things to consider. One is making sure that the user's experience in terms of accessing the content that they paid for is not interrupted. That's pretty straightforward. Our migration articles go over that. I mean, pretty much you're just moving data from your current system and importing it into MemberMouse through the import template that we provide, which is a CSV file, essentially a spreadsheet. You upload that to MemberMouse, and then all of your users are then in there. It's, of course, a lot easier if you're switching from another WordPress solution to MemberMouse, because MemberMouse utilizes the WordPress user system as the foundation for members. So all of their credentials and everything would not change or anything like that. And they'll just automatically, well, not automatically, but MemberMouse will take care of a lot of the things behind the scenes so that those people can then log into the new system and be in MemberMouse. So as far as
they would be able to log in if you were moving from another,
No, not another system. If you're completely not in WordPress, like in your like a custom system of your own, or some other third-party thing that has nothing to do with WordPress, then in the import template, you do have a place where you can provide passwords. But normally, if the thing that you're moving from is secure, you're not going to be able to access people's readable passwords. So you will have a situation where you're going to have to communicate with the users, hey, we're moving to a new site. What I think commonly what I've seen people do is they give everybody, they set their password. You can do this in the import template. They set their password to a default, maybe like set it to the person's first name and then some string of characters. The key is to do it in some way. When you're sending out the email, you can include the password in the email. You can say, hey, your new password is your first name and then these numbers, right? Because you could just do it like, oh, your password is these numbers, but then that's not so secure because all those people are going to have the same password. You have to know the username too, but it's good to like have it be the default, be some data point that you can use a merge var to include that in the email in addition to some numbers. So that's just an additional point of communication where you have to email your members and say, hey, we just moved over a new platform. Here's your new password has been set to this. Please log in and reset your password. And then they provide instructions. Go to the My Account page. You can set your password there. So yeah, there are logistics in regards to that. They're just steps to take. I don't think there's anything complicated in terms of just getting into the new platform of MemberMouse and setting up access rights and getting your members in there. That's pretty straightforward. But yeah, there's the billing question. You know, whenever we get something new, we always want to just immediately get all the benefits of the new thing. And that's natural because now we have something new. But if you have an existing thing or an existing site with a lot of people using it, you have to account for there's going to be some sort of transition period and some sort of transition process. It's like, and it, you know, the ship metaphor works. The bigger your ship is, the harder it is to turn it, you know. And it's the same in this situation. So with regards to billing, there's a number, when you have existing subscriptions and you want to switch over to a new platform, whether it's MemberMouse or some other platform, there's a number of approaches you can take with it. When we did it as MemberMouse, we basically, well, we didn't switch platforms, but what we did do is switch payment providers within the platform itself, which is a similar scenario. And the easiest way to do it is just to keep everybody active on the subscriptions that they're currently going on. And then at natural points, like if their card gets, if a rebill attempt fails, or if their card expires, or something else of that nature where they would naturally just have to input a new card number, as those things happen, the people then will be signing up on your new MemberMouse checkout forms and therefore be brought into the system naturally. That's the least disruptive way to do it. And also the way that's going to minimize to near zero any churn that you're going to have as a result of your move. Because the last thing you want to do is basically reach out to people, hundreds of people, and say, hey, we're moving on to this new system. Can you please go through these steps to make sure you continue to pay us, right? You know, people may be reminded at that point, oh, I don't want to pay you, right? You know, and you may get some cancellation. So you know, you just don't want to mess with that form of things. So I usually recommend to people, let your billing continue on whatever thing you're doing. And yes, there's going to be some downsides to this, because you're not going to get the immediate benefit of MemberMouse on those legacy customers, because where it synchronizes access with billing. So you are going to need to have some manual processes in place for a period of time to keep an eye. Oh, if somebody cancels through PayPal, I need to make sure that I then remove their access in MemberMouse. And depending on your proficiencies, there are ways to automate this, you know, using PayPal notifications and the MemberMouse API, you know. But this is the thing, you know, everything can always be made more sophisticated and complex. And really the only reason you would want to make it more complex is if you absolutely had to, because of the sheer number of people you're dealing with and trying to move. But if you're talking like hundreds of people, the natural process is the best approach, and you shouldn't really need any manual, any additional development for automation in those situations.
Okay.
But of course, there are a lot more nuances on a case-by-case basis, as you probably see from, you know, what's going on in support.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we always see it where people have attempted to do one thing or another. And
Right.
then 30 days later, they have the question of, you know, why aren't people billing? And then you kind of go back and untangle things. So any information that can help you know, not create tangles to begin with,
Right.
you know,
Yeah,
because it is a big process, you
yeah,
know.
it is. It's tricky because, I mean, if you think about it, it's pretty much setting up MemberMouse and something else at the same time. And setting up MemberMouse on itself, like setting up your business in MemberMouse to run, is its own process in itself. And you're doing that at the same time as something else. So it becomes there are definitely more moving parts, which means more time needs to be taken, and also more attention to detail. I think that part of the challenges, which is unfortunately not really avoidable, is, people are naturally excited. If they're motivated to make a switch, then they're excited about doing that, and they just want to get it done.
Yeah.
And they don't have necessarily all the perspective to consider what's actually going to happen when the water gets turned on and starts flowing through the system that they set up. And like you see, they only realize it, some point in the future, when the byproducts of what they've done start appearing. So
Yeah.
some of it is, not avoidable, but I would say if anybody's in doubt, they should check with our team about what they're thinking of doing in terms of the migration. We have a lot of resources that we provide for common scenarios in the support center, but it is a very case by case thing in a lot of situations. So it's good to check.
And